Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today is the day 21 for our Palo Alto firewall training series. This video will be the continuation of our previous video which was on U-turn NAT. Okay, so in previous video what we have learned is the DNS concept and how it works properly, like the internal DNS and the external DNS. In this video we are going to understand the concept of U-turn NAT as well as how to configure it, because there is a lot of misconception regarding U-turn NAT. So I'm going to clear all the misconception about those in this video. So I'll request you to please watch this video till the end so that you can understand the actual concept and the configuration of U-turn NAT, so that you can implement in your company or you can use these skills when you do your interview with a new company or something, and if you want to go into that kind of environment. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video from me. So guys, without any further delay, let's get started. So friends, I have taken this topology, and with the help of the topology we'll try and understand what is the concept behind U-turn NAT. Okay, so first of all we'll try understand concept and then we'll hit the lab and try configuring it. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to tell you guys, that NAT, every NAT, let's say it should be a static NAT, or it should be a PAT, or there will be a destination NAT. Okay, every NAT will work in a certain scenario. Okay, so same way U-turn NAT also works in some scenario. Okay, so we'll try and understand what exactly the scenario where U-turn NAT works. Okay, so basically there are two things. First is DNS. Okay, in DNS I covered like there will be an internal DNS and there will be a external DNS, right? So now the second thing is you need to understand why we need that. Okay, so let's suppose you have a requirement of a web server. Okay, there is a website that you're hosting inside your company, let's say abc.com. okay, and most popular website is google.com. I'm just comparing it. Okay, so most of the users who are sitting on internet, okay, let's say this is internet, so I'm sitting on the internet and I'm trying to access google.com, right? So google.com, where is it is hosted in this server, and this server will have a private IP address which is known as 192.168.1.1, right? So now while accessing that google.com, what we have to remember, the name, right? As I told you, this name will get registered on internet. So in godaddy.com, what we need to do is we need to get registered with this URL, and that will be yours, and there will be an IP address assigned to this. There will be a public IP address assigned to this. Now the first thing what the user will do before going to google.com, it does a DNS. Okay, so DNS can be internal or can be external, but as this user is external, it will try and search the external DNS, right? He will not search the internal DNS. So he gets the IP address, So let's suppose google.com or abc.com has an IP address of 20.1.1.50. Okay, he gets the IP address, then he goes here, and after that the firewall will do NAT and it goes to 1.1. So basically there is a destination NAT is happening over here. So we can understand this, that DNAT is happening over here. But now what happened if there is an internal user accessing this server? In that case, what happened exactly? I'll just rub this out and I'll clearly explain you what happens. So friends, we'll go step by step, okay, and we'll try and understand how it works. So we'll start with the PC. So one PC sends the traffic, the source IP would be 10.1.1.1, right? And the destination IP would be 20.1.1.50, because the DNS resolutions happens for this IP is 20.1.1. When traffic reaches to the firewall, what happens is the source IP would remain same 1.1.1 and the destination IP gets changed or it will get NAT. So as we are accessing 20.1.1.50, it will get NATed to 192.168.1.1 because we have NAT configured over here, because the user who are coming from internet, if they are accessing, they will be accessing on this, right? And it will get NATed. So the NAT is already configured. So here I can see the IP will get NAT to 192.168. Now when he replies the traffic, it is going from DMZ to inside, right? Go from DMZ to inside, there is no NAT configure. NAT is not configured for that. Only from outside to DMZ it is configured, not from DMZ to inside. So when the traffic reaches from firewall, or I can say from the server to the PC, the destination or the source IP would be the source IP, or I can say when this server initiates, when server sends the traffic, the source IP would be 192.168.1.1, okay, and the destination IP would be 10.1.1.1. Now PC is requesting for 20.1, but the reply is coming from 192. Whether PC will accept the traffic or not? He will never accept the traffic, because as he is requesting for an IP address, but the reply is coming from 192. So he will never accept the traffic, or he cannot correlate the traffic. So in this case what happens? In U-turn, what we are doing is we are doing twice NAT over here. So twice NAT, what happens is the source IP will get translated to one of the interface IP. So I can do it for outside, I can do it for inside, I can do it for DMZ as well. So let's say if I am translating this IP address to a DMZ, so 192.168.1.10. So the reply will go to Palo Alto. Now Palo Alto will have the NAT table, right? So as this NAT has been done for the source and destination, he will unnat it and send the traffic back to the PC, and the traffic will be coming from this IP address to this IP address, right? So again, the traffic will be handled by the Palo Alto. He will be reversing the traffic back to Palo Alto, and Palo Alto will send the traffic to PC. So PC will accept the traffic and he will never drop the traffic, because the traffic will be going from the valid IP address, as this is handled by the Palo Alto itself. Because first unnat will happen. Okay. So what I mean to say here is, the conclusion of all this is, the source and the destination both are getting natted in this kind of NAT. Why it is needed? Because you are the first reason that you don't have DNS server inside. The second point is, when the internal user accessing the internal server, in that case this will be applied. So there are two conditions. First, you are not managing the DNS server locally, means you are not managing the DNS server in your organization, and you are outsourcing your DNS server outside. And if the user is accessing that server which is accessible by internal user itself, in that case the U-turn NAT will be applicable. If you are familiar with Cisco ASA, you just study about DNS doctrine. You will be able to understand that. It is the same concept that we do in ASA as well. Okay. So now we'll go to the lab and try and configure and see how it works. Okay. So before jumping into the lab, what I can do is, we'll just try and understand what are the things and what are the components that are available right now. So this is a Cisco router which is acting as DNS server as well as a external client. This is also a Cisco router which is acting as a server. Okay. So the first thing that what we are going to do is, whether we have already configured a DNAT which is from outside to inside, whether DNAT is working properly or not. We'll check that as well. And also the other thing that we are going to check from this machine, whether the DNS resolution is working or not, because the website of this server is www.firewallnetworking.com, something like that. So when this user requests for this URL, he is supposed to get 20.1.1.50. So if it is working, then the DNS is working, and then we'll test the DNAT whether the NAT is happening properly or not. Okay, so this will check, and after that we'll configure the U-turn NAT. Okay, so we'll try and go to the lab first. So the first thing that we are going to do is, from this PC we'll try and check whether our DNS is working properly or not. So we'll do a NS lookup for www.firewallnetworking.com. So once we do this, we'll get an IP address of 20.1.1.50. Okay, and also I wanted to show you that 20.1.1.50 which we can see over here, is doing the DNAT as well. So once we try and initiate a ping from this to this, it should ping to this server. Okay. So what I can do is I have enabled a debug ICMP. Now from this DNS, I'm just going to ping this 50. So I supposed to get a response. So once we enable the debug, I should get some logs that whether this server is replying to this message or not. So this ensures that it doesn't have that IP address. I'll just show you guys. So it has a 192.168.1.1. It doesn't configure to it 20.1. So the NAT is happening properly, right? So this means that the DNAT is happening. Okay. So from outside user, they are able to access. Our DNS is also working where our name is registered. Okay. Now what we have to do here is now we have to configure a policy first and then we'll configure a NAT. Okay. So we'll go to the security policy. As our motive is to the traffic has to go from inside to DMZ. As we are doing the twice NAT in the U-turn, the traffic will be going from inside to DMZ. So we'll create a policy first. So the policy would be from inside to DMZ. So into DMZ. Source would be inside, destination would be outside, action will be allowed. Okay. Now we'll create a NAT policy. We'll create a NAT policy. Okay. Now this is called as U-turn NAT. Okay. The original traffic will be from inside. Okay. Where it is going, as that IP belongs to outside, it is going to outside, right? What would be the destination IP? 20.1.1.50, because after DNS he will get this IP address and he will try to access 20.com, right? So cancel this one. Now translated. Now our source will get translated with the interface of this. What I can say, I will be translating to 1.3. So that's fine. 1.3, and here the destination NAT will be happening to 192.168.1.1, right? Okay. Now you have to move this upward, because if it can hit our pad policy as well. So I'll just put it on the top so that the first thing it will get matched. Okay, so I'll just do a commit, and from that PC we'll try to access that URL and then we'll see how it works. Okay, we'll have a shadow policy. I guess whether we are having any shadow policy or something. So inside to outside. Okay, I guess I need to mention over here inside to DMZ. I have mentioned wrongly inside to outside. That is the reason it is showing as duplicate. So here we have to mention DMZ, click OK and do a commit again. Now it should work, and then we'll try and test the connection. And I'll show you proof that when we try accessing that, it is connecting to this server only. So now we'll try and access this URL itself. Yeah, www, mark this one, and paste it over here. So now we can see that we have gotten, as this is a Cisco router, so we'll just put Cisco and Cisco. So we have entered into, now we'll just execute a command, show IP interface brief. So you can see that we are connected to this server. So how it got connected, and if I wanted to show you in this server, show control plane host open ports. Okay. I guess it's supposed to show, but yeah, what I can do is I can just go to home. I'll just close this off and just copy this one. I guess it's supposed to show. Yeah, now it is showing that I am connected from 192.168.1.10. So we are connecting from this interface. So he assumes that the Palo Alto interface 1/3 is accessing this one. So our source IP and the destination IP, both the IPs are getting changed because we are accessing on 20.1.1.50. How that is? It is getting DNS resolution of 20.1. But it is landing to 1.1 and the source is also getting changed over here. If you want to see the full picture of this one, what we have to do is we just need to log into Palo Alto, and I can show you the session. Admin, okay, sorry, 192.168.10.1. So admin. So session all. I guess here. Okay, so I'll initiate the connection again so that you guys can see this. Yes. Now you will be able to see 10.1 is getting translated to 192.168 and 20.1.50 is getting translated to 192.168. So in the same connection, the source and destination is getting translated. So this is U-turn NAT. Why it is called as U-turn NAT is because it is, the DNS is going outside. It's supposed to go outside, but yeah, as this is not going outside, it is going inside. So the user is thinking that I am going outside, but the server exists inside. The Palo Alto is doing the job. It is not going outside, and it is handled by Palo Alto and sent to inside. It is not going externally, it is going internally. That is the reason it is called as U-turn NAT. And we can also call it as, like, it's a terminology, but the concept remains same over here as well. So every company cannot put the same name. So that is the reason they have a different kind of concepts. So this is what I wanted to cover in this video. If you have increased your knowledge, or if you like this video, or let's say you have learned something new in this video, I'll request you to please hit the like button. If you have any suggestion or feedback, you can just put in the comment box. If you're new to my channel, subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you never miss a video. And also I'll request you to please follow on the Instagram as well. So I'll be posting a lot of questions over there, like in the coming days. Yeah, interview questions. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Yeah.